I'm not sure if this is TMI, but recently I've been experiencing more stomach issues than usual. Could be too much takeout, eating sporadically, eating unbalanced meals, stress, or the actual foods I was eating. And so I decided to do some research recently on what foods to eat more of, foods that help my gut rather than make things more difficult for it. And so that is the theme of today's video. I've got 5 delicious and easy to make meals to share. And I also went on Instagram the other day and asked you guys about your own personal stomach troubles, which there were a lot. And so I tried to keep that in mind as well when creating today's recipes. But please remember that I am not a nutritionist. I am not a doctor. I am just a girl. And besides, everybody's body is different. These recipes aren't necessarily a one-size-fits-all. Oh, and lastly, and then I'm done with disclaimers, I get most of my nutrition knowledge from the queen herself, Pickup Limes. Alright, let's get into this first recipe. Kimchi pancakes with the most amazing almond miso topping. To a medium to large mixing bowl, add all the dry ingredients. All-purpose flour, which can be substituted for rice flour or another gluten-free alternative. Also add corn or potato starch, baking powder, and salt. And give this a quick mix. Next, you're going to add a few tablespoons of vegan kimchi. So I'm adding kimchi for the flavor here. I realized too late that cooking the kimchi destroys its healthy probiotics. So if you want to get those health benefits, then make sure to serve the pancake next to some untouched, uncooked kimchi as well. Mix it all up. Then preheat a non-stick skillet with a small amount of olive oil. Bring it to medium high heat, and once hot, add the entire batter. Feel free to do multiple smaller pancakes, but I prefer creating one big one. Cook the pancake for around 4 minutes on each side. In the meantime, make the dressing or dipping sauce. Simply just combine some white miso paste, almond butter, a bit of white wine vinegar or rice vinegar, some of the kimchi liquid, agave or maple syrup, soy sauce, and some hot water. Whisk it all together. And then assemble. Yeah, so you can either just drizzle the sauce on top, maybe together with some sesame seeds and spring onions. Although I do remember that onions were some of the most frequently mentioned ingredient when I asked you guys about your specific stomach issues. And so if you can't stomach raw onions, then of course omit those or swap them for cilantro or parsley. I made another smaller pancake using rice flour, and that worked just as well. And so yeah, you can easily make these gluten-free if that's what you prefer. You guys asked for more soup recipes, so here you go. This is an incredibly wholesome bow tie pasta soup adapted from one of my favorite cookbook recipes. First, you're going to gather, wash, and chop the vegetables. I have 1 leek here, some carrots, some ginger, and some fennel, which I usually don't cook with, but I did include it here in this soup because, again, it's supposed to be really good for you. Bring a large soup pot with a bit of olive oil to medium heat. Pan fry the veggies for about 3 minutes. In the meantime, set up a blender of some kind. Next, you're going to add some white wine vinegar, some sweetener, I'm going with agave, some soy sauce, and give this about a minute before adding 1 cup of the water. Let everything cook for around 6 to 7 minutes or until the vegetables are tender. Now transfer the contents of the pot to the blender and blend it up. This is going to be our flavor boosting base, essentially. Add about 3 cups of water now. I put the water into the blender first to really get as much as I could out of there. Also add some vegetable broth powder or a vegetable broth cube. The chopped carrots, some tempeh. But yeah, if you cannot handle soy, use another type of plant-based protein like chickpeas, beans, lentils. And if that also is not an option, then I'm not really sure what to do. If you have some ideas, let me know in the comments. And then I also spontaneously decided to add a few other things. Now we're gonna add the pasta. Give this another 8 to 10 minutes. or as long as it takes for the pasta to cook. As soon as the pasta is almost tender, you're going to add a few handfuls of spinach. Taste test once more before serving and enjoy. I ended up serving this with some cilantro and sesame seeds, but yeah, you can add whatever you want, or try the version that's in the cookbook. That one is really, really amazing too. Okay, so this next recipe is very reminiscent of my early vegan days. It's these roasted sweet potato boats with the yummiest ginger topping. After having thoroughly washed some sweet potatoes and having made sure that my oven is preheated to 190 degrees Celsius, I cut the potatoes in half, also chopping off the little ends. I then laid these all out on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper and lightly brushed them with some olive oil. And also added a sprinkle of salt. I let everything roast in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes. In the meantime, I made the topping. First, to a small saucepan, I added some ginger. I didn't bother peeling it, I just cut it into small pieces. I also added some olive oil and brought the heat up to medium, letting this cook and sizzle for about 3 minutes. Feel free to add some garlic here as well, but I'm going to omit that, again, to be in line with today's theme. Next, you're going to add some frozen green peas, letting these cook for 2 to 3 minutes. I know legumes are the enemy of a lot of people with stomach issues. However, compared to other legumes, green peas are generally on the easier to digest side of things. And this Pick Up Limes video here explains this way better than I ever could. Peas and beans are actually quite good for your stomach if your body is used to them. And so if you're currently having a more difficult time digesting these foods, you may want to start slowly adding more peas into your life, only in small amounts, to help your body adjust and be eventually able to tolerate larger quantities more easily. So essentially, microdosing green peas is what I'm recommending. So after having transferred the cooked peas and ginger and all the other ingredients, I'm just gonna blend this all up and then taste test it and see if you have to adjust it with a bit more vinegar and or salt. You can of course also substitute the green pea spread with any other spread of your liking. If your stomach can handle processed products really easily, then like a cream cheese, like a vegan cream cheese would be really good too. Oh, also a little bit of lemon zest, just sprinkled on top, could be really nice as well here. This next recipe is going to be something shepherd's pie-esque, shepherd's pie adjacent. Whatever it is super cozy. Place some potatoes with the skin on in a large pot. Add water, put a lid on top, and bring this up to a boil and let it simmer until tender for around 20 minutes. Chop up all the vegetables. I went for some mushrooms. Also cut up some celery and some ginger, but again, if you want to add garlic, you have my blessing. I first pan fried the ginger and the celery for a good 6 minutes or so, adding some water here and there as well to help everything cook down faster. Then I added in the mushrooms, gave this another 6 to 8 minutes. Then I added some red wine, you could add balsamic vinegar instead, some soy sauce, some tomato paste, some chopped walnuts, and a little bit of sweetener. I cooked this for another 6 minutes or so, and then I would also recommend that you add just a teaspoon of vegan butter to give this more of a rich flavor. It makes a huge difference. Now onto the potato layer. Carefully peel the potatoes, like as soon as they're not too hot to touch anymore. I don't have a potato masher, at least I don't think so. Also added a bit of vegan butter, some oat milk, and some salt. I ended up switching the fork for a ladle, and that worked surprisingly well. Now grab a casserole dish of some kind. At this point, the oven should be preheated to 220 degrees Celsius, and it should be on the broiler setting. I smooth out the top and then place this into the oven for about 15 minutes or until golden brown. This could be super nice, next to a fresh little salad or some steamed vegetables. I served this with some of the miso sauce from the first recipe. That tasted super nice together. Last but not least, I thought I'd include a little breakfast idea here as well. So to a saucepan, you're going to add some frozen blueberries, some lemon zest, a pinch of salt, also add some sweetener of choice, some chia seeds, and some cornstarch. Mix that all up. And then once mixed, you're going to pour in the water, turn the heat up to medium-high, let this simmer for a few minutes, stirring frequently. Then set the jam mixture aside to thicken up nicely for at least another 3 to 5 minutes. I had this on some sourdough bread, which is apparently also quite good for your gut, provided you can tolerate gluten, of course. Feel free to toast the bread first. If you want to be all fancy, you could toast it up in a pan with some vegan butter, but I just added some yogurt straight to the bread first. I can handle soy really well, so I love using soy yogurt, but use whatever type of yogurt works best for you. Right, and then add your homemade blueberry jam. This is a very messy toast. I'm also having some fennel tea on the side here. I love fennel tea, not just because it also happens to be amazing for your stomach. Thank you so much for watching this until the very end. I so appreciate it. Click like and subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!